Uh, Washington, this has been a conversation for decades, though, and I think we should get into the NFL right now. Washington trying to change their name has gotten to the point where three minority owners are all looking to sell, and that's a combined 40% ownership stake in the team.
That's pretty notable. That's a good chunk of the Washington football team right there up for sale.
Yeah, they got in contact with an investment firm, individuals, and they're trying to sell it together. Who knows what that value is like right now? Dan Snyder has always been vehement about not wanting to change the name. He lost a trademark battle over the name. I think he lost two, actually. It has been a whirlwind of refusing to acknowledge that something is even wrong there. And there's now an official review. We'll see what comes of it. But Brett, knowing how Dan Snyder has been, I'm not holding my breath, unfortunately.
I don't know. Ron Rivera has said some real things that have make me think it's gonna happen sooner rather than later. Ron Rivera wants it to be done before the season.
FedEx, who sponsors the stadium Washington plays in, said that as well. Nike took their apparel off of their online stores. I mean, there's a lot of pressure. I think the pressure
Pepsi.
may be enough. Pepsi as well. There's been a few other sponsors. I think there's a lot of pressure. I think it should happen. I'm hopeful it does. Just knowing how long this fight has gone on, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch in this scenario because we have seen this play out before. I mean, the last time that this was brought up, I believe, was 2013.
No, I mean I think it's brought up a lot, but I think it's different this time around. I think these things are gonna change. I've seen some good suggestions out there. Personally, I'm a big replacements fan. I would like the Washington Sentinels with the silver helmets, the red jerseys with the blue and white stripes, and Keanu Reeves at quarterback with Gene Hackman coaching, please.
I think maybe they should go for any of the old Washington team names from different sports. Take the Bullets, take the Generals, take anything that has a history in that city that people can rally around and help change the narrative a little bit, to be honest. Think anything. I don't think going just and changing to the like red tails I've heard or something like that is enough. I mean, the logo obviously would have to change with this name, let's be honest.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a whole logo makeover, and they'll sell more merchandise, and everyone will rebrand, and it'll all work out. Um,
Don't hire this people that did the Chargers logo.
well, you could do the people that did their font. Actually, their
The
uniforms came out great. Their
uniforms came out great, but the LA, that's just a weird, lazy lightning bolt.
I would take those over the Rams people. But
Very true.
anyway, the crazy news is the NFLPA voting to recommend to cancel the preseason, Higgins.
Yeah, the preseason, we were talking about it last episode, how they were down to two games, taking out week one and week four, which includes the Hall of Fame game and the last week before players get ready. So that's when a lot of the starters use their time, really. They were down to two. Now it looks like players don't even want to play a preseason. Is a season even going to happen? I mean, I've reiterated this point a lot at this point, but there's a lot of worry, confusion, and just pins and needles by these players of the situation they're going through. And Brett, I'm wondering, I haven't heard much talk about this. Are teams looking into like sports therapists and professional mental health for some of these scenarios? Because you throw these players into these bubbles and these quarantines and these forced scenarios. I mean, it it would be beneficial to have a mental expert to be able to help people through any of the struggles that you deal with being alone like that of anxiety or depression because players are going to have to be away from their families. They're going to be limited to friendships on their teams, even like that. So it's difficult.
Yeah, I mean, That's a very fair point. I'm sure leagues are doing something. I'm sure in the Orlando bubble they're doing something like that. That would seem very on brand for what the NBA has been doing with mental health. But it's a good point, Higgins.
I think that is something to look into, not just for the NBA, but the NHL, the NFL, and the MLB. I think all these teams should really be looking at this right now. Companies as well, everyone should be really looking at this because of the just unique time that we're in. Um, there has been some front office news in the NFL as well, though, Brett. The Cleveland Browns, David Njoku, the tight end there, he requests a trade, and this isn't necessarily new news, but there's a little more of a forceful push because he wants it done before training camp.
Yeah. Well, that's Drew Rosenhaus for an agent in a nutshell, right? They signed a
Setting
tight
timelines.
end. They signed a tight end. So hey, move my client. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I kind of think Cleveland envisioned having both of them, but I'm sure there's always a tight end needy team, and he's been Njoku. That is, has been a great red zone target when healthy. So we'll see what happens there.
He's 23 years old, so still a lot of potential with him as well. I heard he's estimated near a fourth or a fifth round pick, though, which I don't know if Cleveland would take that for him or would be seeking something potentially higher. The NFL is very stingy over their draft picks, though, in terms of their value, so that might be an accurate worth.
Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on for sure. And Cleveland kind of a trendy team. Like people are unsure on Pittsburgh with their quarterback situation. If what if Roethlisberger were to go down again? The Steelers really didn't address that again. Was Juju Smith-Schuster, was he a beneficiary of Antonio Brown versus what he did last year? So like a lot of question marks in Pittsburgh. I think Baltimore's a runaway to win the division, but Cleveland gets to play the Bengals twice and finished second in the division last year. So they have a slightly easier schedule than Baltimore, similar schedule to Pittsburgh. So uh, definitely a chance that they can make some noise this year if they, second year all together with Baker and Odell and Jarvis and Njoku. So you would think chemistry would improve, but I don't know if they're gonna keep making moves and shuffling the roster. Who knows?
Cleveland, I think, has the offensive tools if they could just get everyone to want to work together, and I think that includes David Njoku, who can be a valuable asset for that team. So we'll see how it goes.